Welcome everyone to yet another episode of Takeover United Pod, where we take over your weekend with all the depressing stuff called Manchester United. And this week, oh man, what do I say this week? It was more like a what if he played well? Um, he we had two draws this week against Man City and Lyon. The Man City was a goalless draw, a boring game that put people to sleep. And the Lyon game was a 2-2 draw with a late goal from Lyon in extra time equalizing. Let's start with the Lyon game, guys. What the hell was that? We start with we start with a lot of spice with Onana saying we are better than Lyon. We should be winning this game easily. Matic hits back saying you're the worst goalkeeper in United history, and then he proved it with his rookie mistakes during the match. So yeah, what do you guys think?
Lord Onana, what can we say? should should have not said should have not said anything before the game. Took him 20 minutes to prove Matic right.
Yeah,
And we started the game like it was disappointing because we sat back a lot against Lyon, and they had like the midfield were pretty comfortable opening us up on numerous occasions, not just one. And even the chances that we got, I think we did waste. Like when it fell to Garnacho, Oiland, I think it's pretty non-existent. But yeah, whatever chances fell to Garnacho, I think in the beginning, I think they just went away. It's just that the quality is lacking. Uh, Midfield, we clearly had gaps, lots of gaps. We had defenders getting dragged out of position a lot, and it was. I think it was a pretty comfortable night for Lyon. Very, very comfortable night. Like they had lots of chances to win the game, but they didn't. Uh, our goals came from uh, our, our goals was good. Like the second goal was really the Zerxi's goal was really cool. I think it was great from Mainu, Bruno, and Zerxi. They combined well.
Hmm.
Starting goal that I think it came from the set piece, right? Like it came from set piece. It got ricocheted, and Ugarte. I think he was going for the shot. I think he missed it, and then uh,
yeah.
Euro put the head in between, and he got the goal.
But Ugarte got the assist and his ratings go up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's just the thing with stats. So yeah, Onana's howlers.
Yeah.
We were talking about investing in defense, investing in midfield, and investing. But now I think keeper also takes top priority. I guess,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially after the performances from Onana. We'll see.
Right. So yeah, Sondeep, why did we spend 50 million on Anna? Right? Like, what? He was not this bad at Enter, or did we just get fooled by the Champions League season? Like, he has not shown any promise or spark in the what 1.5 years, 1.5 seasons he's been here. I mean, season is almost ending, so let's say 2 seasons. We still have a month to go anyway. So 2 seasons he has been here. He has shown more of his mistakes rather than his saves or passes, which we bought him for to replace De Gea. And we kicked out a club legend to make way for Onana. So yeah, my question is, what did United see in the 50 million they spent for him, and where is it all gone? Like, you're not this bad. It didn't look this bad.
Um, to get a full picture of how bad he really has been, let's take a look at this. right?
Yeah, 1 second. Let me put on the stream.
Uh, Man, like, kind of tells the story, right? And what's even more troubling is that we spent 60 million on Andre Onana. Uh, Inter Milan got him from Ajax. Inter got him from Ajax on a free transfer after he was out for 18 months, right? So they got him on a free. He was there for a season. He was part of their UCL final run. And then we bought him for, I think, 55, 60 million. They replaced him with Jan Sommer for 5 million, who has been a better keeper, arguably, in that period. He's been part of their title win as well. Yeah, I think we had doubts when it happened, but man, that 23-24 summer window, like it just fundamentally killed the club on some level. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and it pains me to say this, but the best player out of the three we signed, each for a minimum of 60 million, is the one who's never available. He's the best just because he's never available. Mason Mount. Because the other options are this guy and Rasmus Højlund. I learned something troubling today. Uh, we actually had a package for Højlund with Atlanta of 75 million plus 15 million add-ons. The man isn't even worth the add-ons. He isn't even, like, his real value isn't even the add-ons. Like, what were they thinking? They looked at this guy and they were like, oh, he was a 90 million player. Haaland, like, nobody paid 90 million for Haaland. I know he had a buyout clause, but still, like, nobody in their real mind would think Rasmus Højlund is worth 90 million. Like, we probably, like, the club probably thought that they were avoiding something by getting that discount. Yeah, I had to get that off my chest. United does that too. I think before we talk about where United went wrong or where Amarim went wrong or where maybe some things worked, let's get three things out of the way. Andre Onana, Rasmus Højlund,
Yeah.
and Manuel Ugarte. They were terrible against Lyon, and
Yeah,
they have
just,
often been terrible.
Yeah, just put up the Onana tweet that you shared. Sorry, your feed was not coming in, so I shared it from my side. But yeah, like the tweet says, nobody has made more mistakes leading to goal than Andre Onana. So yeah, Somdeep, continue.
Yeah, I think these three players made, of course, like Onana was at fault for both of the goals. We saw that. It's a theme with him. Like, if I step back and were to analyze mistakes he makes more seriously, right? It's a theme with him. A shot comes at him and he has a tendency to parry into danger.
Yeah.
But today he took it to a new level. He parried it, like, he directly parried it to the penalty spot. Like, if you had to pick any place to parry a shot to, or even to parry it, literally anywhere else would have worked better. But he parried it to the penalty spot. You know, with, like, most of Lyon occupying the box, along with most of our defenders in there. So I was like, even by his standards, that was remarkable. I knew there was scoring. I knew he was going to do something. I just thought he'd parry it to the side, but he kind of let
Yeah,
us
I mean,
down.
we've
even
seen
there.
this a lot in his 2 seasons he's here, His pairing seems to be kind of terrible. But was he like this at his previous club too? Or is this something, is it a United disease that's affecting him?
I think he's had bozo moments in the past. I won't say they are. I wouldn't say they've been a ton, but he has had a few in the past. Have they intensified at Manchester United? 100%. I think he's worsened in that regard since his time at Inter and coming here. Why has this happened? right? That's kind of the issue. Like, why does this happen to players at United? Let's look at the interview he gave, right? He talked about Lyon and how Manchester United could easily beat them.
Yeah.
We couldn't.
Famous last.
And yeah, famous last words. We couldn't, right? If you're going to put out a statement like that and you play for Manchester United, right, especially in the current scheme of things and how things are at the club, your words have far greater impact than what he's realizing, and I think that's part of it. When Onana first arrived at the club, one of his first actions was to mock Harry Maguire, or not mock, but like ridicule him for messing up a pass and leading to a goal in the preseason. And it's funny because I think the inverse applies to him now. Like,
Yeah.
if one of his teammates were to turn to him and do the same thing right now, they could. I don't want to. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh on Andre Onana, but he's had a big role to play in that defeat.
Yeah.
In that draw. It feels like a defeat.
Well, I mean,
But I thought-
Matic also kind of said the same thing, right? You think you're being harsh, and look at what Matic said. Onana better than us.
Yeah.
When you're one of the worst goalkeepers in Man United history, you need to take care what you're talking about. If it was Van der Sar, Schmeichel, or De Gea saying that, okay, but Onana, he's one of the worst. Like, no words minced at all.
I mean, especially given how the game went,
Yeah.
like I feel like Onana kind of proved Matic's point for him. This like like I don't know what to say, man. Like
Yeah.
both goals were like they were. It was like watching a comedy of errors. I don't know what else to say. Like, we can analyze all of that stuff all day long, but how do you plan for that?
So, Ron, let me ask you: do you think we should replace Onana with Binder starting?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bander hasn't got many chances anyways because Onana is the number one, and we always know with keepers it's like they rarely get rotated, right? And so I think Bander does deserve a chance, especially like Onana. If he goes to the bench for a while, he'll probably realize maybe not make more mistakes later on, or like even there's a possibility of a straight sell this summer, right? So yeah, probably try and give Bayandr some chances, see where he's at. I would be fine with that if that happens. That's not a big thing, yeah. But you should definitely try that because he also deserves some chances.
Yeah.
And anyways, by the summer we'll have uh, some clarity on the Onana situation as well. That like if we are going to straight up sell him, then maybe we'll be looking at a replacement. But yeah, until then, there's no harm in trying out Bayanda and giving him chances.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we look to move on Onana in the summer because if you guys remember, he was one of the players called out by Jamie Ratcliffe in his interview. As as players who are not worth their salary and cost too much for United. It was Onana. There was Rashford. Who else was there? Do you remember?
Maybe Casemiro. I don't
Casemiro,
recall
yes,
exactly.
Casemiro, and I think probably also Mount because Mount is barely played. I mean, Jim was talking both about availability and also performances. So, I mean, Mount counts. He's barely played for us. Has he even played 90 minutes yet? So, yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we move Onana on in the summer. But yeah, let's move on from Onana. But in the Lyon game, what so Amarim was saying that he made a tweak after halftime which improved our performance. Did you guys see that tweak, or is Amarim just shooting off to the media again?
What was the tweak he was referring to?
I didn't
I don't.
catch much of the interview. He said he made a tweak which at halftime. He said we had to adapt to Lyon. The first half tweak helped us assert more control over Lyon.
To be honest, I didn't.
So I'm sharing something that I also felt during the game.
He was saying we adapted to
pull that
control
up.
the game. I don't know what we adapted to. Yeah. See, your feed is not coming on or something. Yeah, your screen share is not coming into my stream setup. Just send me the link. Yeah. One second.
Yeah, could you just pull up the image?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like,
one
click on it.
Just putting it on the stream. Yep.
Yep. So I want to highlight this a little bit. Let me make it clear. Onana was also right. Lyon are not good. They like. It was very much a case of two teams with a lot of like structural and player issues and tactic and managerial issues coming together. Two teams who've changed managers mid-season. I think Lyon have done better in their league since the managerial transition. We've
Yeah,
done
they're fifth
worse
in the
and
table.
worse. Yeah, they've improved massively, and they started the season in crisis mode with FFP and everything. So they've really like relatively improved. But having said that, it's a pretty weak squad except for a few bits and pieces here and there. A team we should be beating for the most part, just of the quality of our personnel. So I want to highlight like Lyon's setup was not great, and that's something the triple pivot here is also referring to. Uh, we were back to a lot of the automations that I've referred to on the pod before that sometimes I don't quite like from Amarim's United. It included having Maguire, the central centre back, inverting into midfield, kind of like a DM in build up. In theory, that sounds innovative. In reality, you're putting a player who's not comfortable receiving the ball on the half turn with a lot of pressure on him. So you're basically saying, hey, like this is somebody who's not going to receive the ball. This is somebody who we're not going to pass to just because it's not a safe option. And if we do pass, we'll probably concede a goal. So it kind of just takes one man out of the build up, and we were back to that pattern today. I didn't really understand the reasoning behind falling back to this. The second issue for United was often that Ugarte and Casemiro, particularly Ugarte, wouldn't really show for the ball. And this is where I want to highlight Lyon's press. Now, you can kind of see like this isn't really good structure from Lyon because there is so much gap between their lines.
Yeah.
Right?
It looks like a mirror of United.
Yeah, exactly. It like you're right. I mean, maybe like I don't like describing football as numerical shapes, but with Ruben Amorim, it's hard not to. He's so focused on his formation, it's hard not to. So, yeah, but they left acres of space, and the story of the game for much of the time was we didn't really exploit it well. And in this situation, it's a pretty favorable angle for us because you can see the ball to the right wing back is on, and then they can quickly shift it centrally to Ugarte, and he can play the ball off. But this combination didn't happen often. In reality, what happened was that Lyon's front four dropped deeper, and because they dropped deeper, they basically created a 4v2 against Casemiro and Ugarte. So often we never really had that option in build up. This was a rare instance where, like, due to their mistakes, we had more openings. Another issue I want to highlight here, which I thought made us struggle throughout the game, is can you guys see where Bruno is positioned? he is, if I'm not wrong, for much of the first half especially, he was positioned as the left 10
Mm.
towards the top of your screen.
Yeah.
The second highest blue player behind Doggo. And the problem with this was he was often on the shoulder of his man, like he is in this image, and he was tasked with making the runs beyond the defenders. I know Bruno can do that. Bruno can do everything on a football pitch. But it also invariably meant that we did not use his passing capability in the first half. We expected him to make runs behind the defense and not actually be the person playing those passes. And I felt that was confusing profiling from Amram. Why would you want your best player on the ball in terms of creativity to not get a chance to express himself at all and have to work so hard off it? And it didn't really work because with Bruno making those runs, we struggled to find him because the other players aren't really capable of playing those passes at his level. So that didn't work. Uh, Another thing, as you can see in this image, it's something that teams have started doing against United very often. Lyon, just like Man City on the weekend, lined up with a back line of 5 off the ball to negate our front line of 5. The downside of having a very precise, clear identity, like Robin Amram does, is that if it's too precise and too specific, you become predictable to play against. And this is something that teams are doing. Teams have figured out that if they can negate the front line of 5 we create, because they know that this is the exact system we're going to use and build up, then they have a pretty good chance of nullifying our only attacking threat of the wing backs creating extra width. So Lyon pretty much like survived off that because they didn't have to be particularly good to nullify us at that point. And of course, into this cocktail, you add in Onana's mistakes, Ugarte's inability to progress or pass the ball effectively, and Hoyland's inability to hold up the ball when it arrived to him. And you have a deadly mixture.
Yeah.
Rohan, I want to like get this from you.
Yeah, Rohan, let me ask you this. How do you think we can adjust in games, right? At this point, if sides already know what we're going to do, then even with better players we'll still be caught out and nullified in games. So how do you think Amarim should change his strategy here?
For now, I think with the players that we have, one thing I would say is to continue playing Bruno a bit defense, like at DM. Uh, we need to use his passing ability to really take a control of the midfield.
Hmm.
Using him far ahead, as Somdeep said, I completely agree with him. Like, yes, it is his position, like to play in attack and further forward. But right now we do lack that kind of a midfielder who can really dictate tempo, pass and distribute, or even find like good balls, like as we saw with Zirkzee goal. I think Bruno has that. So I think one change would be to get Bruno behind a little bit, and then because now Mount is also fit, so we
Yeah.
can probably play him like one of the tens.
How long
And
is
I'm
Mount
also
fit for?
hoping.
Maybe 10 more minutes.
Yeah, the money's out.
Let's see. Let's hope. I think if like I'm not aware of like Mount's injury record, like how, like is he? There's definitely doubts over that, but I think if he can stay fit, I think there's a U-turn for him definitely.
Hmm.
Uh, Especially because I think he's a good profile to have in that number 10 role, on the right or on the left. I think he understands that position well. And having him, and as also, even if we can get Ahmad back real quick, I think if we add him at, I think if we can do that, we will probably improve a little bit because we are not getting much out of Hoyle. We're obviously not getting much out of Hoyland. So getting Mount and Ahmad back would be a real boost, and I think based
Yeah.
on the positions that I mentioned, I think we can we can improve a little bit as well because we need him.
Mm.
Definitely, I would start him
Yeah.
over Ugarte 100%. Uh, yeah, because I think Casemiro is doing a good job. I think so far he might not be able to play all the games, but I think whenever we can use him, we have to use him. That's the situation right now. So definitely, I would get mine. I would use Manu, Mount, and Ahmad really more once they come back, and yeah, I think we'll improve a little bit. Uh, Not sure why Amorim switched Bruno again to ahead to play ahead a little bit. Just because I think he wanted to introduce Manu a little bit late.
Yeah.
He's coming back from injury. But again, I would still feel that if Bruno could drop it much more into midfield, maybe we have like a good way of negating this miss this bad passage of play that where we against against Lyon we had so many bad passages of play like there were like even for simple 1-2s or 2-3 passes combinations they just couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it, and then it was like easy for Lyon to just take the ball and pass through us through the midfield. There were so many passages like that. So definitely would like try to make these changes to see us improve better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, agreed. I mean, it also feels like, I mean, to give some credit to Amarim, it feels like he maybe feels that he's too tied down with the lack of quality in the squad. You know, maybe feels that, hey, what's the point of experimenting if the players are just trash anyway? Um, like,
You know what I'm gonna say?
yep.
You know, you know.
Yeah,
I hear he has this fabulous 63-year-old goalkeeping coach on the bench. Very capable. Very capable.
very
Very
capable.
capable. But yeah, the squad lacks, like I said it myself, like Onana, Hoyland, Ugarte. Uh,
The Three Musketeers.
I think Ugarte isn't fundamentally on Amram because
Yeah.
he had limited options, so we can excuse that. Uh, Even Onana, to some extent, isn't really on him. It's not a player he asked for, and we don't really have a first choice keeper.
Yeah.
But I think getting rid of Rashford and not trying to replace him and relying on Hoyland as your lone striker for half a season, it was always going to be a bad idea. I mean, he's making me miss what Weghorst. Like Weghorst was impeccable, you know.
Because Bailey scored goals though.
And neither does Hoyland. So Weghorst, the thing is with Weghorst is he kind of played like a support striker to Rashford indirectly in a lot of games,
Yeah.
and he did create a lot of opportunities for Rashford. So his overall contribution was still far superior.
No, I agree. It just feels like whichever position. But I think the only positions United has some quality right now are what, the centre backs, the wing backs. Once Samad also comes back, and that's about it.
I think the only
And Bruno.
positions United has quality at is Bruno, Ahmad, and Manu.
Yeah.
Wherever they play.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
and on some occasions Euro and Mazraoui, because
Yeah.
they do like do the best. And this season, like it's not going to be true next season, but just for this season, Casemiro, like I have to give
Yeah.
him credit where due.
Yes, definitely.
He had the most tackles for a player for Manchester United since 2007, and he was remarkable against Man City. So like, I have to give him his flowers.
Yeah. I
Having
mean,
said that, I
five-time
still
sale
hope
winner. He's not for five-time sale winner for nothing.
Yeah, I think it also on some level shows like the gap between like where we want to be as a club and kind of the players at the club, because somebody who is considered well past his sell by date and a retiree by Real Madrid, right,
Mm.
and over the hill, is still comfortably our best midfielder while being well over 30.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at our fan base, not even 2 months ago, we were saying that, hey, Casemiro is done, sell him to Saudi, get an offer from them, blah, blah, blah,
I,
right? I mean,
you know,
even on this pod, we
he
have called for him to leave, but,
absolutely,
he had just
yeah.
he had just reinvented himself. It seems like, he has, it feels like he's identified where he's lacking, right? And not try to do things that he clearly cannot do at his age, but still contribute to the side and focus on his strengths, what he does best. And the end result is he's playing better than Mr. Ugarte right next to him, who's half
Yeah,
a decade or more younger than him.
yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. You're kind of saying he's recognized his own limitations, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, this is what I can do. I'm going
Right.
to focus on my strengths. Like, for instance, when he receives the ball on the half turn, you'll notice he doesn't try to take the ball and maneuver it. He just passes it first time.
Right.
Maybe that's instruction, but I think it's just like his own choice also, knowing that he can't really do it any other way. I still think we should sell him. I still
No, even
think
if it
that
is just
we should.
instruction, you see a lot of players who get old, they don't follow instruction, right? Especially a player
Yeah,
as decorated
yeah.
as Casemiro. They do have a lot of,
Absolutely.
when you won 5 Champions League titles with Real Madrid, you get excuse for having some ego, right? But the fact that, like, we have had, senior players in the past who didn't follow coaches' instructions and tried to do their own thing on the pitch, and didn't work out. But Casemiro has shown that he's willing to adapt, and I think that itself says a lot about him, of how good and how adaptable he is. We saw this with Ryan Giggs too, if you remember. Um, Ryan Giggs went from a left winger to a DM.
Yeah, and I mean, Giggs was famous for going on record saying of course, he had off the pitch issues, and that's a different thing. But on the pitch, he prolonged his career by utilizing yoga and continually sort of, devoting himself to keeping his body trained in such a way to adapt to the demands of his age. Not necessarily what was best for football, but what is best for keeping him agile. I mean, he played till what, almost 40 for United. So that was remarkable.
I wonder if yoga was a code word or something else, but let's not get into that discussion. Um,
Oh man.
It might be.
Well, yeah. I, no comments.
but yeah, anyway, Bruno, not Bruno. Why am I saying Bruno? Onana, Ugarte, all these players, they've kind of been trash. Hoyland. But, the other player I wanted to touch on, and I think at this point we can kind of go into the City game as well, is Garnacho. I think, wasn't he, like, responsible for a lot of the missed chances in the City game? Like, just either being wasteful or not finishing properly. I know I saw in the Lyon game as well, but I think the City game was more pronounced with his missed chances in the 90 minutes, or how much you replayed. So yeah, Rowan, I'll start with you. What's going on in Garnacho? This guy, 1 month he plays like a player of the month. The next month he's playing like Rasmus Højlund. What's going on? Do you think?
Well, inconsistency is a common theme at Man United with players, 100%. Like, there are like I think I can count on one hand really the players that have been consistent. Not like I wouldn't even use the full, like just like a couple of them we can say that okay, we can rely on them to perform every week. Something that's just team common at all over here. Uh, the people say he has a lot of like everyone does like whoever does came into the academy from the academy from a lot of promise and showing a lot of potential. He's and it's not like he has scored like has done, but that is never enough. Like if you want to keep uh, winning in the league, if you want to keep get results in the league, if you want to keep winning in cups, then just those one or two games, then that is never enough. And clearly, we see that Garnacho isn't that first team quality who can like come in and perform every week, may get an assist or a goal, or do like create like big chances. Even if he's not getting goals and assists, even like he doesn't look like the player who is like creating big chances, like big danger situations for us. Uh, Sometimes he does, but it's very like one in 3 games, once in 4 games, very random, and that's just the theme with yeah. So definitely like not sure what the reason is. Maybe the potential, like the people, but what the potential is there. Maybe he's not training well, or if the potential is misjudged, maybe that might be the reason too. Not sure, not exactly sure what the reason is. And we've also helped him out in the sense that we've played him into 3 different positions, right? Like he's played on the right wing as well, where he is more comfortable, where he's linking up more with players. Like on the left wing, he's like a goner, like he just doesn't he plays like when he in terms of passing, at least he's not there yet, but at least on the right wing he does show some promise that
Yep.
he will pass. But even then, there's just not enough performance wise on the pitch. I don't know what he's doing in training, but on the pitch, not sure what the problem is. And I wouldn't be surprised if we sold him in the summer, because we do need to raise funds and we do
Yeah.
need players who are ready now, definitely, who can take the game each week and get us the goals and assists, because we can't just always rely on like Bruno, Ahmad and everyone. So
No, agreed. Let me ask you this. If you get, say, 30, 40, 50, whatever million for Garnacho, are you taking it?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm taking it. 30-40 million, uh, because his performances are not like that. Like it's not like his performances are really really great, and it's not. And we are in a situation where he doesn't want to play for the club because maybe United are not competing right now for any or challenging night of a title. So even that's not the case right now. It's
Hmm.
more like both the club are in wanting to like can sell, definitely sell, and also his performances are not justifying his place in the team. So I think we won't get too much money for him, even though he's a young lad, young potential, lots of potential. People do say that, but I don't think we will get like crazy amounts of money for him. So maybe for like 40 million, I think I would sell him. That would be like that would be a realistic sell
Yeah.
for I think.
What about you, Sandeep? Would you, if you get 30, 40, 50, whatever million, are you letting Garnacho go? And let me add additional part to that. Who do you replace him with?
That's the problem, isn't it? Like the Venn diagram of who we can replace Garnacho with, combined with players who might be willing to come to United and we can afford, like that really narrows down options. And there'd have to be an improvement on him for it to be worth it. So before I get into Garnacho and everything going on with him, I want to acknowledge that the data, like including my own data, FPRF or whatever, it does show that the underlying numbers show that Garnacho has been very effective this season. He's been a good player per the metrics. Right. Now, having acknowledged that, I think the best analogy I have for the Garnacho problem or who he is you ever hear of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, right? But in Garnacho's case, that's the unstoppable force is Garnacho, the player, and the immovable object is Garnacho, the teammate. So the problem is that when these two combine, you have a player who is supremely good in many ways, who is often at the right place at the right time, who's often at the end of many chances, who's often very well positioned in attacks, who works hard,
Mm.
often combined with a player who makes the wrong pass in many counterattacks, chooses to make the wrong pass often in counterattacks, combined with a player who takes shots when he could lay it off to the fullback or when he could play a much simpler pass to someone in a better position. And just a player who makes a ton of bad decisions that seem to progressively increase. Some of that can be excused to youth. Definitely that's a part of it, but he's also a pretty experienced youngster now. I think he's approaching 150 games
Yeah.
for United. I think part of the problem is that when you idolize Cristiano Ronaldo so completely, but you're not quite Cristiano Ronaldo, right? The gaps in your game, like the gaps in your game start to show up, right? Because Ronaldo, for all of his everything said about him being selfish or whatever, Ronaldo was still a phenomenal player who benefited the team.
Yep.
His goals, his actions, his assists, they all worked because they always served the team in some way, especially at United, especially at Madrid, and that's how
Ronaldo
these
worked.
teams saw a lot of success.
Ronaldo worked phenomenally hard to improve. Like,
Yeah.
if you do you remember Ronaldo's first season? He was so wasteful, right?
Yeah.
He was always trying to do the hero pass or the hero move and
Yeah.
completely wasteful on the ball. But if you think about it, this is Garnacho's, like to say, third full season, right, with the senior squad. He did play 20 and 22, just played a couple of games, so not counting that. But this is a third, season with a significant number of games. And
Correct.
if you compare Garnacho in his third season to Ronaldo in his third season at the club, night and day difference.
Yeah. Night and day, yeah.
Ronaldo
Yeah,
in
I
his
think
third season was almost like one of the best in the world at that point.
he was getting there, and the thing is, when your talent level is as high as Ronaldo, because there was never any doubt about his pure talent. It was like smack you in the face kind of talent.
Yeah.
You still get away with sometimes playing for yourself and not the team, right? People still understand that okay, this guy has the baseline ability to get away with this, right? But Garnacho, as great as he isn't at that baseline ability. Hardly anyone ever has. There's just been one player who's been at Ronaldo's baseline ability or higher that we know. So, and what happens with that is the mistakes come. The shots that don't go in, the layoffs that he doesn't make to teammates, or the assists that he throws away for a half-hearted attempt, and then people start serving. So I really feel that's what's happening. It's like two sides of his brain. A player who's always in optimal situations, which is why his metrics are so good. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah. Hey, move your
Combined
mic,
with a player
Somdeep.
who-
Your voice is turning off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just saying, a player who has great numbers, who's often in those great positions, combined with a player who, once he's in that position, often makes poor decisions. And at some point, I don't think it's just youth. I think it's also his place that I want to take you guys back to the semi-final against Liverpool. I think in the FA Cup last season, where we had that famous come from behind victory and Ahmad scored the winner. If you look back at the counter for that Ahmad goal, right? The counter was Garnacho and Ahmad, and as both of them approached the box, Ahmad was in a much better position to score because the man was on Garnacho.
Yep.
But Garnacho, instead of angling the ball in front of him so that he could shoot, he kind of just laid off a square pass, the kind where you expect a 1-2 pass back, right? And I think that kind of sums up his approach. He wanted the pass back. He wanted to be the one maybe finishing the ball, or at least have a chance at taking the final shot.
Yeah.
Uh, it just so happened that Ahmad's finish was so good that it didn't matter. But he really had to stretch there, and things could have gone another way. So, yeah, it really comes down to which Garnacho decides to show up on that day. Because his ability isn't the problem, but his I don't want to say his choices, just like his decision making at times can be the issue for us. So, looking at that, if a bid above 50 million comes in for him, I would say sell. Anything below, I think we'd struggle to replace him in the market, because there are not a lot of great players who'd be willing to come to United who cost less than 50 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah. No, I agree. The market seems to be a bit bad these days, especially when you factor in who's ready to come to United. Right? If you're United of even 5 years ago, we would be talking of having more choices. But the club has slipped so much during ETH's reign that we can't even attract good quality players now. Is there anyone in the academy who could step up? Do you think in that position or profile?
What area are you talking about?
Like Garnacho.
Garnacho.
So one of the 10s, right, in Amarim's system, because this guy's inflexible as heck. Yeah, I think there are a couple who maybe aren't like ready, but are almost there. One's Jack Morehouse, who was on the bench today.
Yes,
And
yes.
I think he's a prodigious talent. What I love about him is that he's got that ball carrying ability, that ability to receive the ball on the half turn, and then run at defenses. He also has that really useful modern, but that trait where he uses his arms to kind of lock opposition players off him while making those runs. Something like what Morgan Rogers does, obviously at a much higher level. So I think he has all the attributes of a good ball carrying 10. I want to add though, United have struggled with, United have had a lot of good talented youngsters in recent years, but we've struggled with helping them make the physical transition to senior football. I feel like that's where many of them slip through the cracks, because the club kind of fails to guide them into that physical transition to senior football. Just the physicality and the jump thereof. Morehouse earlier had injury issues, but he's worked on them, and they've been better this year. I think he's kind of growing into his frame as well.
And he fits right in
So-
if he has injury issues.
He did, but he's been consistently better at it over the last year. And Amarim has him on the bench, so clearly he's being noticed by the coaching staff. So yeah, I think I can see Jack Morehouse, if things go ideally well, he can play as one of the 10s, or at least be a rotation figure for us there.
Yeah. So let's kind of go a bit into the City game from here. I know you saw the full game, and I kind of saw some of it as well. Do you think?
You didn't miss much.
But this tweet I've put up here, City were really bad in the game as well, right? It's I would say it is. We kind of it's man, I don't have words for a stupid game. It's a missed opportunity that we didn't win the game and do the league double over Man City, because they were not looking good, especially they're missing Haaland. They're also missing. Did KDB play at all? I don't remember. I mean, even if he did, he
did, yeah.
He did, but yeah, they were not looking very good. Marmoush was the only guy trying to do something. So, yeah, I want to ask you. I mean, we have already spoken about Garnacho, but football is still played by 11 people aside, so it can't just be that Garnacho's poor performance prevented us from winning the game. So, who were the other gaps that you saw
Can I take this first?
Yeah.
This,
Yeah, I think.
Because Casemiro had a great game.
So,
Bruno had a great game.
oh, yeah, hands down. Like both of them were outstanding.
yeah.
Uh, I want. I actually feel that on the balance of things, United were a little better than City. Like marginally so. It was very much a case of mid versus mid, but United were just a little better than City. Uh, and it was strange to me. Pep put out a really negative lineup on the day, and I'm calling it negative because his midfield selections were: he had KDB, he had Gundogan, he had Bernardo. He wasn't trying to overrun United's midfield at all. He had Nico Gonzalez as an option. He didn't use him, which was very strange to me. Uh, you'd have given him more control and athleticism in the middle of the park, and City lacked that, and it's a weakness for United. So I was surprised that he didn't even try to do that. He also, very surprisingly, kind of defended with 5 players in the last line. That's why he used keep
Kovacic.
forgetting his name, Matheus
Kovacic.
Nunes at right wing back.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, and he had Kovacic
Yeah.
as well. Sorry, I think it was Gundogan, Kovacic, and KDB in midfield, and then there was also Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden, if I'm remembering it correct.
I think Bernardo also kind of lined up in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
midfield.
yeah.
Foden was playing alongside
Yeah.
Ramos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember like the exact configuration, but that
Yeah, I
was
think it's like a
roughly-
4-3-1-2 with Bruno. Sorry, not Bruno. De Bruyne in the 10 with
Yeah.
the 3 behind
Yeah.
him.
So yeah, that was really my problem. Like he kind of lined up with 5 in the last line to defend with. I didn't really get the logic of that. He played a not so mobile midfield, which made a lot easier for United, and they just weren't really positive in their intent. Of course, they pressed high and all of that, like they tend to, but a lot of the possession was more about controlling the game and not losing it. And they didn't like take the kind of risks and build up to play through the middle of the pitch. So I actually thought Amram's block was good against City. He reverted to that 5-4-1 structure he uses in big games, and it's a pretty template idea. Like we drop off, we don't leave much space, and then we hit teams on the counter, and that was kind of the recipe all day, and it worked against City. They couldn't really create anything, and they didn't try to create anything, which was weird to me.
I think they were like I think they got a bit overconfident also. That would be like my idea with City. I think they did get because uh, United have been like they did try and play their like if you look at it like uh, them not being able to play too much through the middle, Kovacic playing on the pitch is really strange because that doesn't really happen often, right? Like if you imagine it without looking at the game, I think you would say that there's KDB playing and there's Kovacic, there's Foden making it clear, then they didn't take it. Like it just went. They were just wasteful. We were wasteful. We also created from both the teams. Just felt like they just didn't take the chance to win, and we got a draw. It was like very and not the most inspiring derbies we've seen over the years.
Yeah.
Usually these are more exciting, but that was just
Yeah,
boring.
honestly, nothing much happened in the derby. Like, it was a snooze fest.
Yeah.
There's not much to
Yeah, it
discuss,
really
really.
was. Yeah, it really was a snooze fest, and like it was strange to see City because like they had De Bruyne, Gundogan,
Yeah.
Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, Foden, 5 players who all kind of like to have the ball at their feet or come to the ball. So like the only off the ball runs were really happening only from Marmo. She was the only one who
Yeah.
even trying to stretch play or give width to their play. And he was kind of cutting an isolated figure at times. He tried and he was playing well, but it didn't really work. I almost felt like, given the last game between these two teams and the loss that City suffered, it felt like it was very fresh in Pep's mind, and he was more focused on just sort of controlling the game somewhat and not really trying to force a win, which was very unusual. Like, this is a Pep I've never seen before. I've always suspected that this is somebody in there in the background behind all the wonderful players he's been fortunate to manage, but to actually see it happen this way is very strange.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty disappointing week overall. Let's end today's episode with some predictions for the next week's games. We have Newcastle next. I know we already spoke about that in the last episode where all of us predicted losses, and I don't. Is anyone changing their prediction? I don't think so.
No. I think
So
we'll,
yeah, let's predict the. Let's do some predictions for the home leg of the Lyon match. So United face off against Lyon next Thursday, and yeah. What are your guys' predictions? I think at home, I think playing away, Lyon is playing away. They might be a little more negative. I mean, they were negative at their own home. So I think we may actually nick this in the home leg. Maybe I can't see us scoring more than a goal if Lyon don't score. So yeah, I think I would say maybe a 1-0 or a 2-1 victory. With the Lyon goal being another classic Onana mistake. What about you, Ron? What do you think will happen in the Lyon game?
it's actually like, I'm not sure what lineup we are gonna play, but if we start with the same lineup, right, like as the first leg, I think we might lose it. I think Lyon will come out all attacking second leg, and this time they might actually score. So score more, they will outscore us, and the first leg the goals came out of mistakes a lot, but I think this time they will they might put away their chances, and we might go out.
Okay.
So that's my prediction.
So we have 1 win and 1 loss for Lyon. And they can't be draws because this is a cup game. So Somdeep, you're the casting vote here.
Prepare for the rarest of rare occasions. I'm going to agree with Pratyush on this one. I think United will win. I don't think that's actually happened for any prediction until today. I think United will win. We have a better team than them. I'm sorry, but we do. It's not saying much, but I still we have a better personnel. If we stick with players like Mino, Mount, Zirkzee, the ones who clearly made us look better when they were on the pitch with Bruno, Casemiro and all, and if we don't get injuries, touch wood, I think we'll win. Like, it'll be a hard fought victory, something like 2-1, because as you said, there is going to be an Onana error for sure. Like, there's going to be an Onana error for certain, right? So it's going to be a hard fought 2-1 victory or something, or maybe something of that sort, but I think United will win. It also depends a little bit on how badly Newcastle thrash us. I feel like we should just not, we should like wrap everyone in cotton wool for that game, like tank that game.
Yeah,
NBA
just
style.
tank the Newcastle game. We're not beating them with the best lineup either.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, bring on Kukonki, bring on Morehouse, like give them a chance. 'Cause
Harry Amas.
It's immaterial. Yeah, play Harry Amas. Give Dorgo a much needed rest.
Yeah.
Like I won't be surprised if we get like Dan Murphy and Harvey Barnes like running rings past us and like scoring as for fun.
Oh, Murphy's gonna get a hat trick, man. I just hope. And didn't Fabian Schär hit the crossbar from behind the halfway line the other day for Isak's
Yeah,
goal?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
god, like something like that. Like
Yeah.
it's I can see that happening with Onana.
Man,
I can see anything happen with Onana.
imagine Alexander Isaac against Onana. And we're probably playing Maguire in the defense, right? So Isaac
Yeah.
runs past Onana. Sorry, Isaac runs past Maguire, and then comes
It
face
doesn't
to
matter.
face
He'll
with
probably
Onana.
run past both of them. Yeah.
Comes
he'll
face
run
to
past-
face. Comes face to face with Onana. Probably sledges him before scoring the goal, saying, "Yeah, try to save it."
doesn't matter who the defender is. Ona will still help
Yeah.
him somehow.
And then they will find a way. Inevitable, you know.
Yeah. All right. That note, that's all we have for you today. So yeah, upcoming games we have Newcastle this Sunday, and then we have Lyon midweek on Thursday in the Europa, and we have Wolves next Sunday. But we'll be back before the Wolves game. So yeah, until then, have fun, have a nice depressing weekend as you get scared of how Newcastle will thrash us, and we'll see you next week.